Greetings everybody, Alexander Mazzone aka Galactic Tarot back again with the Spiritual Fitness Show episode 2. Today I'm going to be talking about the do's and don'ts for the goddess and the warrior archetypes. When I talk about these archetypes, I'm saying how do you envision yourself on your future timeline? So if you could please hit that like button for me, leave your comments of course. Please remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and always hit the bell notification to be alerted when I go live. So let's get started. So when we do any of these movements that I have, I did a ton of research for you guys here. You want to make sure that your posture is perfect. If your posture is not perfect, that's actually what can bother the hips, bother the lower back. And there's some things that you can be doing all day to improve your day-to-day life. So one of the things I want you to ask yourself before you do any movement, multiple times, you just got to really engrave this in. Are my shoulders back? Are my shoulders down? And is my chest up? When your posture is like this, it's gonna even just shift everything. Not only is it gonna protect you, but this is making sure that all of your chakras are properly aligned. I want you to think about your chakras almost like an antenna. And if your antenna is bent, how are you going to get the proper spiritual activations and everything else that's going on today or on your future timelines? So regardless of talking about all the spiritual stuff, this stuff is just really important to me. This is what I learned waking up. And I woke up because of this stuff. I was a personal trainer, and it was the fact that I was drinking well water and I was following all these math formulas on why my third eye even decalcified in the first place. I was like having visions and I was like seeing this X and this dot and like literally just like seeing all this crazy stuff that I went to the eye doctor and I went to the skin doctor because I actually still have scars on the sides of my head right here from fluoride deposits decalcifying. So, people often joke that I accidentally opened up my third eye, but it's a fact of the matter that this actually happened for me. It was the working out that started all this for me. And it's the working out that I know the importance of mind, body, spirit, and why this stuff is just necessary. It's not something you can do. It's not something you need to do. It's something you should do if you really want to get the next level. If you want to attain the next level, if you want to get your everything to the next level spiritually, if you're wondering why your third eye's not opening up, if you're wondering why this or that, or you're waiting for this thing, this is the way to produce endorphins. This is the way to produce dopamine. This is the way for the warriors out there to produce more testosterone, which is going to just actually prevent the aging process and just make the person feel more powerful, stronger, and just a whole long list of things that this is going to do for you. So with all of this stuff, I want you to really take into account your fitness level at this present moment. You might want to ask your doctor, are you ready for this? You might even want to sign up with a personal trainer if that's within your budget. There's awesome stuff you can research online. I like the website bodybuilding.com. If you want to really go over these forms, I'm going to be going over the forms with you today. But the most important thing, as I always tell everybody, is the posture. Are my shoulders back? Are my shoulders down? Is my chest up? Are my abs tight? Before you do any of these movements, you want to make sure that your posture is perfect. You're going to be hearing me probably say that a lot today. My clients used to get really annoyed by that, but this is going to change your entire life by making sure that you have your posture perfect. Regardless of if you're going to use any of this information today, regardless if you're ever going to pick up a weight or do any of these movements, your posture is very important to make sure that all of your chakras are firing and you're firing on all cylinders. This is actually going to shift your spiritual life, and this is actually going to shift everything for you by making sure that you have a straight antenna going all the way up your stream. So today, with the goddess, I'm going to be going over the 3 movements that I think are the most important that you're going to get the most from. So number 1 we're going to be going over today is the squat. This is called the Goblet Squat. You're going to want to start with a kettlebell that is the proper weight for you in your beginning stage or in your intermediate or advanced stage. Shoulders are back and down, chest is up, abs are tight. You're going to pop the hips to start the movement, like you're sitting way back and making sure that the middle of the knee is going to track over the middle of the middle toe. So if I ran a Sharpie down the middle of your knee, in the middle of your middle toe, on all forms of the squat, this is how it should be done properly, without the knee extending over the toe. So remembering everything that was in the goblet squat portion of the video, we're going to add all of that to the full squat. Another thing I'd like for you to remember is that if you force your elbows forward, it's going to flex and activate the lats, back muscles, and this is going to make it easier to support all this weight. Make sure that your chest is not falling over during this squat, and if you want to ensure that you're going low enough and breaking parallel, but not going too low, you can use either a milk crate or some sort of box, which is safe to use while squatting, so you can go as low as you can go at your present state. Okay, so the reason why you're wanting to do this squat, this is going to work your entire posterior chain. So to all the goddesses out there, this is like literally lower back all the way to the floor. Your abs, your lower back, your glutes, all the leg muscles, all the things that are most important to have you have this awesome physique. The movements, the number 1 and 2 that I'm talking about for the goddess, there used to be back in the day, one of my clients, usually a female client, obviously, a female client, the husband would be like usually like, not usually, but more often than not, threatened, there's this young guy training my wife. And more often than not, this guy would actually end up coming in the gym and like kind of like whispering to me, kind of sleazy on the side. And he'd be like, what are you doing? He'd be like, her butt, oh my God, her chest, her, like, what are you doing? Like, she looks so awesome. Like, this guy that was like anti-Alexander is now like, I'm gonna sign her up for more sessions, like more often than not, like I was saying. So this is why the squat's so important. And this is also for the chest, why the incline press is so important. And that's why the number 2 movement is gonna be the incline press. This is a modified version of the incline bench. As always, we have our shoulders back and down, our chest up, and our abs tight. The goal is to hit a 45-degree angle with this movement, whether you're using a kettlebell, dumbbells, or a barbell. I'm showing you this way, just in case if you do not have access to the machinery necessary to hit this angle. The reason why we're doing the incline press today, instead of the flat bench, or the shoulder press, or any of this other stuff, is because we want to have the main focus be on this upper chest right here, with some focus on the shoulder, and really like, kind of cutting out a lot of that like back of the arm tricep and the lower part of the chest. Like, can you do all of this stuff? Is it bad to do any of that stuff? No, it's not. Not necessarily. I'm telling you about the most important movements to have the body really fill out on your future timeline the way that you want it to look. So now I want to go over number 3. Number 3 is the OneArm Row. There are many variations of this. There are more difficult ones, which are better, that I would love to talk about maybe in a future video, like the bent over row or like, the Rogers row. But this is based upon the average person, and not the average fitness-wise. I'm saying the average amount of disposable income that we have into building a gym in our house. It's been a crazy year in 2020, and I have pretty much an entire gym sitting over to the side of me. A very basic, I didn't like go nuts and buy all these cable machines and everything, but I want to show you guys ways that you can do all this with simply just one kettlebell, like, depending on what your budget is, or basically work your way up to getting the rack, getting the barbell, buying some rubber bumper plates or metal plates, and doing the more difficult stuff. Today is really just a start off to make sure you're not doing any weird movements that are gonna have your body fill out in a strange way. because I'm always getting like a lot of people back in the day, even now, you know, more women in particular worried about filling out certain muscles and looking a certain way, which is just very, very incredibly difficult to have happen, which is just what I want to let you know. So I'm going to tell you the stuff that's going to fill out the way that is strictly my opinion, but is the stuff that worked the best for my clients in the past. But you feel free to do the movements that feel the best for you guys. Like you goddesses out there, like it's very, very, very difficult to just look like this gigantic warrior overnight. I've been working out for the better half of 20 years, not even 20 years, like over 20 years now. And this is just stuff that you're not just gonna overnight look like a, you know, a Sasquatch here. It's just not really possible. And I'm gonna be going over the exercises not to do at the end. Like the stuff that will fill out certain things that I have seen happen. And I have had, you know, goddesses or warriors come up to me and say, why is this happening to my body? How do I prevent this? So, without further ado, number 3, the one-arm row. When you're doing a proper one-arm row, the back of the hamstrings should be very tight, almost like a loaded slingshot. Shoulders back and down, of course, chest is up, abs are tight, and when you pull the weight in, it should be the proper weight that when you pull the weight to the top, you can almost hold it for a quick moment before releasing the rep and going down in control. Okay, welcome back. So now I want to get into the don'ts for the goddess. What's most important to avoid? So what's most important to avoid? Now, there are many forms of the deadlift, and I am a huge advocate of the deadlift. That's one of those movements like I was talking about earlier. People say, oh, deadlifting hurts my back. Deadlifting doesn't hurt your back. Your poor form hurts your back. The deadlift is something that, if it's done properly, is one of the best things you can do. But I would use alternate forms of the deadlift to have the body type of the goddess, to have this like, to work out your body with a goal, with what your end goal is. The deadlift is gonna work some traps. It's like you know, I see like I've had women come up to me in the past and they're like my traps are getting bigger. What am I doing? And like, you know, they're doing like high shoulder raises, or they're actually doing traps. Like you really, like for the goddess body type, you want to completely avoid shrugs, and you really want to do alternate movements of the deadlift. So like more something like, and I'm not going to be going over all these movements today. This is going to be something you're going to have to research on bodybuilding.com. I'm really going over the don'ts right now. So what I would start with or add to your repertoire is what we already talked about. But basically like a straight leg deadlift or like a Romanian deadlift, depending on how your back is, working with those, but absolutely positively avoiding the traps. And I'm going to mention this again later because I'm an advocate of everybody avoiding this, regardless of what your body type is, unless if you have certain fitness goals. There's that disclaimer again, obliques. When I see people like really working the side of the body, you know, I trained with fitness models back in the day and got them ready for competitions, and I've done hours and hours of weekend-long seminars, like, you know, whether it's for training bodybuilders and training them how to actually pose and flex and the stage presence and fitness models, all that stuff. Many of these people that you see in these magazines and you see like in these amazing shape, and I know a lot of you are thinking, I don't want to look like that. Even they avoid the obliques because it's going to make your entire frame boxier. And this is why deadlifting from the floor is something that the goddess can do certain movements, certain types at certain points, but it's not something that like you're going to want to keep progressing and keep adding weight to, because it can make the frame more boxy. If that's your fitness goal, is to get a strong deadlift and you're training for strength, you're training something like that, by all means, you got to do this stuff. I'm talking about these particular archetypes and just basically making it so people can attain what their end goal is easily. So without further ado, I want to move into the warrior now. So once again, all you warriors out there, shoulders back, shoulders down, chest up, abs tight. You want to protect your core. What is the core? If you go look up the definition, it's the center most important piece. Picture the skeleton. We literally have a rib cage up here, and then we have our hips down here, and then it's just literally a little vertebrae in here with all these organs and all this stuff here. Like all this important stuff here. Like we have like bone structure supporting everything else. Over here, there's literally just a vertebrae. Just your backbones from here to here. Like how funny. And I have this shirt on. That was not intentional. So this is the center most important piece, and this is why sometimes the back can bother somebody when the movement isn't proper. The back usually bothers somebody when they're not properly activating their abs, to be honest with you. But we're going to be going over that in a little bit. So, first and foremost, if a warrior contacted me and they said, I only have 30 minutes to work out a week, I would tell them to only do this movement and just separate it and do it for 15 minutes one day and 15 minutes another day, just to start off. And this, once again, is only if you're ready to do this movement. There's ways to get yourself ready to get to the point of doing this, but number one for the warrior, we're going to be talking about the clean and press. So this movement is called threading the needle. You're going to be going from your right hand to your left hand and then using your heels to push through the ground to raise the kettlebell up. Feel free to add a one-arm shoulder press to the movement to make this more difficult for more advanced users. The clean and press is Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite movement by far. He said that it creates total body density. Saying that, this is one of the more difficult movements and can take years to truly master. For starters, make sure your shoulders are back and down, your chest is up, your abs are tight, and you're exploding by pushing the heels through the floor to pop the weight up. Do not let the weight go out in front of you. You want to raise it almost with a shrugging movement. Pop the weight up, catch it on the upper chest by flipping it underneath you. If you're having difficulty with one of those last reps, you can always jump down a little bit lower into a squat to make sure you're in the appropriate place to catch the weight. You're then going to be doing a shoulder press by tucking the elbows in, don't overdo it, and press the weight over your head. Make sure when you go over your head, you do not hyperextend the shoulders and do not do a full extension. You want to raise it all the way up, but you do not want to hyperextend the elbows under the weight. So, this is the best, by far the best. What you just saw, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite. That was right in the Pumping Iron book. He said that this creates total body density. And this is something that it's just not really done anymore, you know? And is it done? Yeah, it's come back to a certain extent. But it's one of those movements that me, as somebody who, you know, trained pretty hard for long periods of time, it seemed like my workout partner would always just vanish that day. Like, you know, when they knew it was clean and press day, there was very few workout partners that would be like, all right, I'm excited, we're doing the clean and press today. You know, they would always show up for chest and biceps, if you know what I'm talking about. So, number two that I want to talk about is the front squat. One of my absolute favorites, the front squat. Bring your thumbs together and put them over the top of the middle of the bar, and then grab the bar and then get your elbows to go under it and raise them nice and high. This will ensure that the lats are flexed and supporting all the weight that you're holding up. Tight grip, shoulders back and down, chest up. Popping the hips to start the movement and making sure that the middle of the knee tracks over the middle of your middle toe, driving the heel through the floor. The front squat's awesome because basically the weight's gonna bring you forward instead of, you know, certain things getting tweaked and like the knees going in and the lower back bothering you, when you get up under that weight, the front squat is really, really great for the warrior because it's going to work a lot of shoulders and chest stuff. It's also going to prevent the legs from going as heavy. Nobody's going as heavy on a front squat as they are on a back squat. And you're going to literally feel like you're going to dump the weight and lose the weight when you're maxing out. And I'm not telling you to max out. I'm saying when you're getting to that last most difficult rep, I would rather have somebody pushing, if they're going for this workout style, I would rather have somebody pushing to do that one extra rep in the front squat than in the back squat. Because like, you know, sometimes like the chest can start to dip and the body can still do it and the brain thinks it's doing it, but the form is just crap. You want your form to be perfect. And obviously under like certain amounts of weight, the form's not always going to be perfect. But I always tell people, I would rather see them doing less reps with less weight than more reps with more weight and everything in between. Just having perfect form is going to fully activate the muscle and it's going to let you attain, because many people don't have this, the brain muscle acuity to actually fire the muscle. I see people all the time and they're doing a movement and they think they're doing a movement. Especially back in the day in the gym, like these people think they're doing a movement and the weight's moving in the way and it sounds and seems like they're doing it on paper, but they're absolutely positively not doing the actual movement. So this wouldn't happen if the weight would just go down and we'd actually learn how to like, you know, fire these synapses of firing these muscles to get what we want to get done. So number 3 I want to talk about is the pull-up. Wide grip pull-ups are by far the best for activating, expanding, and growing the lat muscles. Saying that, some have much difficulty getting to the point to being able to even do one pull-up. Things that I would suggest is using bands to help you, or actually grabbing a chair or something that's safe and sturdy, putting it next to the bar, having yourself be at the top of the rep and doing the negative to slowly lower yourself. This will help you ensure getting one pull-up, and as you continue to work on this, you can keep working until you're getting the amount that is your desired goal. The reason why you warriors want to be doing the pull-up is it's just everything you need for your back. As I was talking about earlier with the goddesses, yeah, bent over rows are awesome. Like all this stuff is awesome. I'm talking about the 3 most important movements for each archetype. This is a very, very important one, especially with a wide grip. It's just going to work everything. There's even muscles that start the movement that you can only fire in this way, especially with the wide grip. But always do whatever your body's ready to do. And there's ways that you can add bands. If you watch some other videos, you can add bands to this stuff and make it so you can get yourself ready to do a pull-up. And also doing just the deficit. You can have like a chair set up, bring a chair in, go bring yourself up to the bar, and then just lower yourself really slowly with an easier grip. Maybe not the wide grip. And just like, see, can I lower myself? And then eventually you'll be able to do this 1. And then eventually you'll be able to do this 2. And then eventually you'll be able to do this 10. And then eventually you'll be able to add a little bit of weight, put a weight in a backpack or get the chain with the weight and add more weight. The pull-up is by far the best, but once again, is the form clean. You don't want to be doing all this jerking stuff and swinging stuff, and just get the clean rep and get the chin up to or over the bar. Probably over the bar is what I'd prefer, but at least up to the bar without doing all these weird jerky movements. Because whenever we do anything, you want to ask yourself, does the benefit outweigh the risk? So you getting this other rep for your ego to feel like, oh, I got this extra rep today or something, but you're like really, really forcing it. That could bother something in the back. That could bother something in the lats. It's just possible. You know, I'm Mr. Positivity, but if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. I just want to let you know, just if you can't do it, don't do it. Especially in this day and age where you're working out home, and you might be working out home alone right now. Like a lot of gyms are closed right now, and regardless, when your gym opens back up or what you're doing, you know, I'm still personally gonna work out from home. Like when all the gyms open back up, I love working at home now. And I used to be the big advocate of you're 37% more productive when people are watching you, bro. This and that in the gym. I still think it's great. If you perform better in the gym, then do so. But I think a lot of that was belief structures that the second I was kind of forced to just do it in the home, now it's like it's always there. There's definitely days where I'm working out now where I wouldn't have gone to the gym before. And now it's like, well, it's right there. Well, why not? I'm gonna eat this certain meal, so why not? So now I wanna get into the don't for warriors, okay? So the don't for warriors is, it's a pretty short list. Just really the obliques, like once again, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is something that, you know, the guys always want that, like that V taper. They want the lats to come down. And when the warriors or the guys, whoever's watching this, when you have your lats come down, if your lats come down and your obliques get wider, it makes this V taper look less. So once again, this is something that fitness models and bodybuilders, they avoid this stuff. They avoid these ab movements that are really focusing on the oblique and putting the time under tension. Like it's okay, I think, if you're doing like some stuff like where you're like more like a boxer crunch and you're keeping the body movement, but to put isolation and time under tension on one oblique, it can and will grow, and this is usually something that you want to avoid. It's going to make everything look wider when your goal for most people in fitness is to look slimmer. I also want to talk about abs. Abs is one of those things that makes me laugh because I'll see people at the gym for years. Like this is like the most common thing. And I'm not judging anyone who has this belief structure at home because I'm sure you're out there and I'm sure you're watching right now. But you see somebody who has belly fat that they want to lose and they're doing crunches. This is simply not how the body works. I want you to think of the body like a balloon because that's quite simply what it is. And I'm not saying a balloon like overweight. I'm saying it's like letting air out of a balloon. When you hear that sound, you know? When you let air out of a balloon, the abs are already there. Like the abs are already there. Like, can you work out the abs to get them to look more bricky and solid and awesome? Yeah, of course you can. But when I see people doing crunches to lose belly fat, it's just honestly kind of comical because that's just not how the body works. Also, when I see people like isolating and they're like, oh, I'm just trying to lose fat in this area, and then they're working out that area, it's not how it works. Just if you're looking to trim down and you're doing this stuff and you've been doing this stuff that I'm telling you about for a while and you've added more stuff, you just walk. All the greats getting ready for fitness competitions or any of that stuff, they walk. There's no impact or low impact, and if the amount you're walking isn't working, you walk more. And obviously I know everybody's got crazy schedules and busy schedules. I'm just letting you know what's worked for me and what I've seen work for my clients, what I've seen work for people that are getting on stage, and what I hear all the greats over my years in this industry talking about. So without further ado, I want to just get into talking about the plank, because the plank isn't something that I need to show you. You know, the plank is just literally making your body perfectly flat, making sure that your hips and your butt is not coming up. But I do want to talk about abs, and I do want to show you a basic demonstration, because a lot of people, and I would say over 95%, do not know how to fully activate the rectus abdominis. To fully activate your abs, and I would actually be with my client on an exercise ball, which will help with this, by the way. I don't have an exercise ball to show you the demonstration, so I'm going to be showing you a different movement. But the exercise ball, wrapping yourself, so you picture the ball right here, having your hips down, your shoulders down. This is the easiest way for me to show this. So say this is the person's butt, this is the person's shoulders, okay? To do this movement properly, you want to make sure the hips go up, then the shoulders go up, then the shoulders go down, then the hips go down. That's one rep. That's going to fully activate these top abs. So I'm going to show you a movement that you can be doing at home now. I'm not sure exactly what the name of this type of crunch is. We'll just call it a crunch. but not a basic crunch. So without further ado, I want to show you how to fully activate your abs. For full activation of the rectus abdominis, ab muscles, it's a 4-part movement. You want to start by raising your hips forward, off of your exercise ball or off of the ground, holding them there, then raising the shoulders, then lower the shoulders, then lower the hips. That's 1 rep. Awesome. So guys, I hope you appreciated this. I hope you like this. A lot of work's been going into all of this stuff. You know, the Dream State show, the workout show that you're watching now, much more to come. I want to do a big shout out to all the Patreon supporters that are making it so I can record more and I can put more time into this and, you know, teaching you guys. There's so much more to come for that. There's so many more videos to come. Please remember to hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And I'll see you guys very soon. We got the Zodiac readings up. We've got a whole bunch of stuff coming. If you want to book your own personal sessions at galactictarot.com. And if you are looking for any energy gear, please visit crystalcurrent.com. Thank you guys so very much. I will see you very soon.